Good morning, friends. On behalf of Karma Fitness, I welcome you all to this live interactive program. What we are having, we've been having a series of these live interactive sessions. Our guest for today is a practicing nutritionist. She's been in private practice for the past 15 years. She's carved out a niche in corporate nutrition, cognitive development, and child nutrition, weight loss programs, medical and sports nutrition. And she believes in a natural eating and healing of the body. But what's more important than this is that she is a passionate and an accomplished runner, a Boston qualifier in 2015, in a year where only 9 Indians qualified for the Boston Marathon, and she was one of the 3 women who qualified that year. She's finished all her 6 world majors with a personal best of 3 hours 23 minutes in the Chicago Marathon in 2018. She's been a podium finisher in majority of the domestic events in which she's participated, and today, she's also a budding triathlete. So please welcome our guest for today, Roopali Mehta, who requires no introduction, but she in fact gives credence to the fact that you are what you eat. Hi Roopali, how are you?
Hi.
And how is the lockdown treating you?
Hi Nitin, I'm fine. Thank you so much. And firstly, let me just thank you, Karma, Satish, everybody for giving me this platform to come to people and talk and share my thoughts and views. Well, you know, I was just before the lockdown, I was preparing for my major marathon, which I was attempting the first ultra. That was a 2 oceans. And I was really, really looking forward for stop raining. So it was a little bit sad, you know, but I think I have taken in a good spirit because I know all these are just commas in our life. They're not full stops. And
Absolutely true.
I have kind of bended my training in doing a lot of off-season training, which I would say strength, because I have ran the whole, I ran the whole year. I have taken care of strength, but not as much as I would love to. So I am doing a lot of cross training, doing a lot of strength training, because we think that, you know, when we are off, we are free to eat, but actually this is a time that we should really take care of our food and not put on that unwanted weight. Really get, you know, very...
Absolutely true. So Roopali, in these days of the lockdown, when with the corona howling, ranging upon us, the most important thing which everyone is worried about is, am I immune enough? Is my immunity good enough to fight against this corona epidemic? The building of the immunity.
So, you know, Nitin, I'll tell you one thing. Immunity should be of a concern irrespective of whether you're training, you're not training. Whether it is, even if there's COVID or a pre-COVID. When I was training myself before the lockdown, or even when I was consulting people, you know, it could be a runner, an ultra athlete, a swimmer, a cricketer, along with the energy, along with the recovery, the main concern is actually immunity. For any of us, immunity, so it is, unfortunately, it has come into the prime area now because of everybody's talking about it. True. So what I want to send a message to people is that even once we are through this phase, we should take care of our immunity then also. Because if you're an athlete and we do not have a strong immune system, we will not be able to withstand our training program. We will not be able to excel because you will be more susceptible in falling sick. True. So this is the importance, along with your energy and recovery. So according to me as a nutritionist, when I'm practicing, there are 5 folds. There are very important 5 tips that I follow. So the first one, which I really give a lot of importance, is to the start of the day. See, no matter how a day may look like ahead, because sometimes you know, we may be thrown with different fireballs in the air, but the start of the day is very much in your hand. Our human body is alkaline in nature. It is our pH of a human body is is 7.3. So we have a slight, so therefore we should start with an alkalining food. And that could be a simple thing like water with lime, an apple cider vinegar with water, organic honey with water, even nothing than a few soaked raisins or maybe even a fruit. So with all of this, our body gets a good kickstart and it will enhance a better immune system. So the start of the day is very, very important. Please do not start with tea and coffee as the first thing. It is highly acidic and it will only
Absolutely
make the
true.
system, it will only make the system much more acidic. Now, the second very important key point is what you choose to eat throughout the day. See, please understand, whatever you put in your mouth, it matters. So try and stick to as much as of eating of real and natural food. So when I speak about real and natural food, I do not mean that you have to only binge, you have to only eat raw food. It means food that is lightly cooked. It's not,
Non-processed.
yeah, it is unprocessed, is completely the point, but it is lightly cooked. So there could be a varied colors of fruits and vegetables. The more you will cook the food, the more it loses its nutrition value. Yes, so the food that is lightly cooked. Then soaked nuts and seeds. Please understand, I'm used the word soak because the minute you soak them, they enhance with the nutrition value. It's better digested in your system.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Sprouted pulses. So when you're eating a dal, instead of eating a dal, if you sprout the pulse and make a dal, it has a greater nutrition value and it will enhance your immunity system. Even rather than eating atta, if you make it into a whole sprout, a whole pulse is better. Like if I eat bajra, any millets, if I eat it as a whole pulse, it is far more nutritious than me eating as a bajra roti. Versus if I sprout that pulse, if I sprout that cereal, it becomes even much more nutritious.
Absolutely.
So you understand what I eat matters. Another very good in our food is the vasodilator foods, means the food that helps in broadening our blood vessels. So the very famous, now people talk about beetroot, but there is beetroot, all your green leafy vegetables like your rockets, your peas, they are your vasodilator foods. Foods which also help in enhancing immune system can be your broccoli, your spring onion. They are your NAC food. Basically, in short, they enhance your immune system. Another food that helps, which you should add in your food to choose to eat, is fermented food, like your yogurt. For people who are lactose intolerant, can go in for idli or dhokla. Fermentation leads to live bacteria, which keeps your gut flora healthy. If your gut is healthy, yes, your probiotics. So if your gut is healthy, your digestion is good, and that's when whatever you eat is absorbed in the system. So that is very, very important to look for. So the food that you choose to eat. So the first we spoke about the start of the day, the food that you choose to eat. Secondly, I would like to run through a lot of vitamins and minerals also that helps in the immune system. That is especially your vitamin A, from which you get from all your deep colored orange, deep colored green leafy, orange or red. Mango is the fruit of the season. So please enjoy it because that is rich in vitamin A. Your vitamin D. You may say, okay, we are not out in the sunshine so much nowadays, but and unfortunately we do not get fortified food, but it also is available in your shellfish. People who are non-vegetarian, but otherwise you have to be taking your medicines. Vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D. Your iron is very, very important because they are your oxygen carriers in the body. Your vitamin C, which you can get it as simple as from your chilies, your lime. So vitamin C, when it is had along with iron, it helps in the absorption of the iron in the body because it works as a catalyst. And zinc is some food that I would strongly suggest that you should consume it in your diet. So that can be coming from your eggs and dairy. People who are vegetarian can obviously move to dairy, and people who are vegan, then they have to take a supplement. So vitamin C along with zinc forms as a very strong immune booster. Another area which will help our immunity is our kitchen. Fortunately, we Indians have a herb. We have all types of medicines in our kitchen, and they are very powerful and potent.
Yeah, the grandmother's recipes.
Yes, right from your ginger to your garlic to your pudina, that's your mint, your clove, cinnamon. Then even a very good mulethi, which we call mulethi or jeshti mud, a powder that is easily available from Jhandu. That is very high in immune as a booster. And according to me, the king of all the immune for giving a high immunity and the herb is turmeric.
Okay.
And right now, the Western world took it over, and they have obviously, it's as curcumin. It is everywhere marketed because
So
curcumin
now
is
it's
a
packaged.
potent, yes, it's a potent feature of the turmeric, which is basically high antioxidant, high anti-inflammatory. But turmeric should always be had in the presence of pepper. Then only it is well absorbed in the system.
Right.
And last, in the nutrition level, I would say fluid. A lot of warm fluid helps in building a good immunity, like your kadhas, your broths, your chicken broth, your paya broth, your bone broth, your soups, your lime water, limbu pani. So a lot of good fluid intake is a must for a good immune system. So these were the 5 very important bullet points in when it came to nutrition.
Sure.
But along with that, let's not forget the most important is sleep. If you are low on your sleep and if you're low on your hygiene, no matter what you do, your immune system will be will be just rocking. It will get compromised. So these are your immune boosting points, which I think if any one of us now, even later, take care, your immunity will be at a good level.
Roopali, you've been a great runner. You've been a podium finisher. Now, from you, I would like to know, especially how you've addressed what is the importance of a good nutrition plan in the success of an athlete or a runner.
So, Nitin, yes, you're right. Because, when I started running, I'll be very honest, like every nutritionist, I got out of school and we were taught like we have to be, we need to eat, like our carbs, protein, fats and everything. But as I went deeper into running, and I realized that how important it was, not because we as runners are really doing something special. Our diet also needs a little special edge because we are testing our body and we are taking it to every limit.
Stretching the limits,
Yes, we are stretching our limits. So we need that extra edge in our diet, which will help us to withstand that quality we want from our body. Right?
True.
So if I want if my body to perform, when I'm training hard and I want my body to perform, even I need to give it back. And that's when I realized that nutrition is actually the king. Because I may be just training 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day maximum. But how many times do I really eat? I'm eating like 5
times.
5 times. It could be 4 times. It could be 6 times. So can you imagine the impact the food has on the body?
Absolutely.
So this is very, very important. I would also say that what you eat, how much you eat, and when you eat really defines your good nutrition plan for your practice and even for it could be even for your performance.
Absolutely.
A good nutrition plan for any athlete will enhance firstly energy, recovery, immunity, help in managing weight. The composition of the body is very, very important. So whenever, like as in my practice, I've noticed that whenever people come to me, so even when, once or twice when you had come for your comrades, my first question after a 1 or 2 session is, tell me about your recovery. Because if the person is not able to recover from the past workout and is ready for the next workout, that means there's a lack in the nutrition. Or there's a lack in the sleep or in the hydration. But being a nutritionist, obviously, my point of view is looking at the nutrition first. Point of first. And I try to gap that bridge. Because that means the body is not getting fueled properly and the body is not recovering out of your past workout. And if your body doesn't recover, that means your body cannot be ready for the next workout. If you cannot excel the next workout, then how will you climb up the ladder? It's as simple as that.
Yes.
So I always take care of certain points that while drafting my diets. And today on this platform, I would like to throw some light on it. So when I'm drafting my diets and when I'm even for my own self, firstly, the diet has to be wholesome. It has to be as natural and real that I just spoke about. It should be balanced. Okay, we should have a balanced meal. I 100% try and keep my diet as much as possible alkaline in nature. Alkaline means entrusting that there is much more alkalining food in the diet because that is how a natural human body's composition is.
Composed.
And yes, and the more the alkaline the diet is, the more the risk of injury and inflammation is reduced. And that is very, very important. Secondly, I try to see that the athlete should be a very smart eater. What do you mean by smart? All of us are just looking at calories, but nobody looks at nutrition versus calorie. So the food that you're eating the calories that you're putting in your mouth, are you getting optimum nutrition for that calorie? So that is the battle that one has
The
to look at.
balance. Right.
Yes. Because suppose, I give you a very classic example. Evening is a time when everybody wants to binge in and, are feeling like a little bit
The hunger pangs.
the urge to eat something tasty. But
Right.
what happens is that at that time I literally explain people, I said, I'm losing a meal from you. You may say, Roopali, I need a cup of tea and I need some kachra patti, like some biscuits, I need a sandwich.
Yeah.
But I would say, okay, fine. But where is the nutrition? I'm giving you the calories. You're getting the energy. But where is the nutrition will optimize the health? That's where I get compromised. Versus if I tell you, okay, fine, you have your cup of tea, you have a little bit of your snacky food, but the predominant will be, let's say, a bowl of nuts. Let's say 10 almonds.
Okay.
10 almonds will only give me 80 calories. But can you believe the nutrition I get from it?
Much more than the junk food.
Yes, which later on reflects in the performance.
Right.
So it is, you have to, if you are an athlete, no matter at whatever level, a beginner, an intermediate, advanced, super advanced, or a professional, you have to be a smart eater. For everything that you put in your mouth, you see to it that you get a good return for it.
Absolutely.
So hydration is another very, very important key. Like suppose, let's say, Nitin, but let's say if your weight is 70 or 72 kgs.
Right.
As an athlete, I would say that, Nitin, you need to consume 100 ml of fluid,
Per
not
kg.
water, per
Right.
kg. Because then only when your muscles remain hydrated, you will not be cramping. And that is when your wear and tear of tissues is taken also care of. Because imagine if you're a non-vegetarian, right? Or if it was a vegetarian, they had to eat a dried paneer. Have you ever eaten a dried chicken, an old chicken? How it's hard.
Chewy and
hard. Okay.
Right.
And imagine if you have to eat a tender young chicken. How will it be?
Absolutely.
Juicy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And soft. Same as a muscle. A dehydrated muscle will be very old. It will become like a very chewy kind of a muscle. Well, a well-hydrated muscle will be much more having youth. So basically, I don't mean like in the terms of, it's a moisture in the muscle which will reduce the risk of injuries.
True.
Okay. So hydration is another very, very key. Otherwise, protein is something that I really take care of. Being a vegetarian and non-vegetarian, it has to be kept at a very optimum level for the recovery and for the soreness.
Right.
Good fats is very important. Being an athlete, never cut out of the good fats. I'm not saying eat fried food. Good fat, which is basically coming from your nuts and seeds and from various kinds of dairy. Please do not... Coconut, amazing amount of fat, especially the MCT. It immediately gives you a good kick into into your intestine, and you really don't have to waste a lot of your body energy in breaking it down.
True.
Please do not compromise your calories in eating processed carbohydrates or refined carbohydrates. As an athlete, please invest in eating complex carbs because that's where the energy bank is.
Right.
And as an athlete, have a varied colored of fruits and vegetables because that's where your antioxidant is. That's where your catalyst to break down all your macronutrients are. And that is exactly which I say is my saving point. The more the fruits and vegetables in the diet, the more the fiber in the diet, the healthier is the body.
True.
So, and even as an athlete, just keep your gut healthy. I mean, if you notice, if you see that these points will overlap with your immunity points because they all go hand in gloves.
Hand in hand, yes.
They all go hand in gloves. So these are the very, very crucial areas that one has to look into nutrition while you are doing any kind of an event.
Very well said. And very well said. And in fact, the time when you're doing an event and training for an event, your immunity often tends to go low also because of the stress in the body. Now, you mentioned proteins, Roopali, and the most important question which comes to people's mind is, especially the vegetarians, is where am I going to get the proteins from? Because when they go to the gym, they have been told that you don't get proteins from vegetarian food and then you need to take in all the supplements. So what is your take? How can vegetarians get their protein intake?
So, Nitin, I don't know if you know, I'm a pure vegetarian. And I have married in a household where we do not even cook eggs. So, and I'm, as you know, from the background, I'm a 42-kilometer runner, and it's a very demanding practice. It's a very demanding sport on the body.
No doubt.
And I can tell you, I'm not taking anybody's case study. I'm taking my own case study. From nowhere, being a vegetarian, I feel that I am missing being a non-vegetarian, or I'm missing eating non-veg food just for the protein factor.
Okay.
So if people who are I would strongly say that people who are vegetarian and are eating plant-based protein diet, they
Right.
can get their first class protein by eating cereal and protein combination.
Okay.
And our Indian cuisine is a hit for it. Simple example, khichdi. It's rice and dal.
Dal. Yeah.
Idli. Idli
Rice and
is
dal.
rice and dal.
Dal. Yeah.
Dahi chawal. Let's say curd rice. Right?
Right.
The curd is getting the protein and the rice is a cereal. So cereal protein combination. How does that happen? The protein has its own protein content.
Right.
But even the cereal has a protein
Small
content.
amount of protein. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they two come together, the puzzle is fixed, and that becomes your first class protein.
Okay.
So anytime if you're eating a meal, instead of eating bhaji and chapati, eat dal, bhaji and chapati.
Right.
So don't miss the cereal. So if you're a vegetarian, please have a cereal with a protein and bring it together, and you get your first class protein.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
First and foremost. But even I have enlisted some common foods that we eat. Even if you're eating, like, let's say, the optimum, I said, for an athlete, the amount of protein that one requires is 1 gram to 1.2 grams per body weight. Okay.
Right.
Because we are not lifters. We are not some gym lifters, or so the amount of protein that we require is 1 gram per body weight. So let's say, like, if you're 65 kgs, so 65 grams of protein is good enough for your body. Okay. Because you do not also want to load your kidneys.
True.
Maximum, it could go up to 70 grams by adding another 0.2 grams more.
Right.
So what am I saying is, even if you are eating, let's say, 100 gram of boiled or any cooked chickpeas, moong, matki, rajma, you get anywhere from 23 to 24 grams of protein in it.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Even if you're eating 100 gram of paneer throughout the day, I mean, 100 gram is a lot of paneer, and you plan to eat it throughout the day. Even if you're eating skim paneer, because you're cutting the fat, but you're eating
the low-fat
protein,
paneer.
you will get 23 grams of protein in it.
Right.
Even if I give a person like 2 tablespoons of seeds through the day, 1 tablespoon in the morning, 1 tablespoon in the evening, I will get 6 grams of protein through the day. So I dissect it, a vegetarian can also get good amount of protein through the day, provided that person is smart enough to plant the protein in every meal. You cannot say, oh, I had dal once a day in the morning with my rice, or I will have it once a day in the night, and that's done for me. No, you have to be smart enough to plant the protein in every meal of the diet, and that's when you will get your entire coverage of protein. So basically, it is about how you plan your diet. That is more important. Yeah.
So,
but nowhere vegetarian can miss a protein for sure.
So I don't think the vegetarians need to be worried, especially the vegetarian athletes, that they will underperform from the protein point of view as compared to the non-vegetarians. Roopali, just before the lockdown set in, quite a few of us were training for quite a few major events and things of that sort. And now suddenly there has been a stoppage of the serious training due to the lockdown. Now, what impact do you think this should have on our normal diet and our nutrition, especially considering that we're not working out that much?
Yes, Nitin, I was in the same situation as I told you. I had a race on 11th April, for my 2 oceans. And imagine, it called off 3 weeks before. So I was literally in the whole midst of a heavy training. Yeah, and that too running hills, which I'm never comfortable with. And Satish knows about it. So he was helping me with the training plan.
With the training.
Yeah. And suddenly from there to come down to 0 mileage was obviously a little bit of jolt initially. I took it as 2-3 days as recovery, thinking that, okay, fine, body's getting recovered. We were enjoying the break of sleeping a little bit longer in the morning. But suddenly the bell started ringing in the head. I was like, this is not happening, And so basically, I believe that in this lockdown period, firstly, it's all each to its own. First and foremost, that how you want to take this phase. For people who basically have gone from a very intensive training to an off-season training like me. So I am in an off-season training where I am running, but it's a very low impact. I mean,
Right.
from let's say 100 kilometers, 80, 90 kilometers a week to 20, 30 kilometers a week is nothing. And
Right.
that also on a very low impact, low intensity, versus I'm doing a lot of strength and cross training. So something for me, it's a low season. So
Right.
nutrition has to be taken a lot into account, because if that is not taken into account, a lot of areas where I will be paying a price will be, firstly will be my weight, my fat composition, my body
Absolutely.
composition will change. And when I will try to come back, it will become very difficult for me. So
Right.
even now, even people who are on a low impact workout or on an off season training, when they are planning for the diet, they should take care of three things. That is energy, because they
Right.
want to have an optimum energy. Weight, according to me, has to be of a prime concern, unless you
Important.
decide to let it loose and you can't help it, then even I can't help it. And thirdly is the immunity that we've already covered up.
Right. Right.
Right, because that's a need of an hour. It's a need of an hour all the time, but a more of a need
More
of
so,
an hour
more so now.
More
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
So I would say that if a person as of now, let's say if it's somebody, person A, his correct weight to his height, like that's a very general way of saying. So, how would you know? I will say a very simple method. Whatever is your height in centimeters, just if it's a male, minus by 100. Suppose if your height in centimeters is 183 centimeters, minus 100, and that should be more or less your weight, your optimum weight. Okay, I'm not saying racing weight.
Right.
I'm just saying optimum weight for being healthy.
In
But
pounds.
obviously here in kgs.
Okay. Okay.
In kgs, 83 kgs. Okay,
yeah.
But I am not saying here I'm not talking about composition of fat and muscle. I mean, that only happens when you go on a machine and you get that reading.
True.
And if it's a female, then it will be 100, will be the height in centimeters minus 105. So you know your optimum weight. But if you know that if your weight is to the height is correct, then the person, what I would suggest in this lockdown period when you are having a low activity, let 60% of your diet be high on fiber. That is a lot of vegetables and wholesome food, and protein, lean protein.
Right.
When I say protein, then I don't say like eat a red meat or eat a lot of egg yolks because they're high in fat, or eat a lot of full fat paneer. Like a lean protein which has got a lower amount of fat. Okay.
Right.
And against that, only 40% of your diet be moderate fat and wholesome carbs.
Okay.
So, and that will help you. Something like this combination, ballpark of this combination will help you to sustain your weight. But if this same person A is now trying to lose weight, if he's, let's say he realized that I am 5-6 kgs overweight, or I'm 10 kgs overweight, and in this lockdown I'm not getting to run, now what should I do? So this same person, what it should do is, now imagine it's a plate, okay? The plate is there, which is your whole day's routine.
Right.
The 50% of the diet should become fibrous. So when I talk about fiber, I'm paying a lot of attention on your vegetables. Because what happens, they are your low calorie food, but high nutritional food.
Right. And a filler also.
And a filler also. So basically imagine your half of 50% of your plate looks like a high fibrous, varied colors of fruits and vegetables. Even fruits to be a little bit limited, but more of the starchy vegetables, green leafy vegetables, whatever available in the market as of now. And the balance 50% should be a combination of moreover with protein, fat, and then a little minuscule carbohydrates.
Right.
But don't worry. Don't say that, oh, if I don't eat roti, rice, I will probably faint. I will not be exercising. No, you are getting carbs even through your vegetables. You're getting your carbs even through your proteins, and you're even getting your carbs into your fat. So it's coming from everywhere, because everything has got each of its own other component.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is a very, something very simplifiedly I've just explained you if a person is wanting to maintain the weight and the person is trying to lose the weight. So, but always remember that I always believe there's no one plan for all, because, we all are different people. We all have distinct
horses for the races, horses for the courses.
So basically what I'm trying to say is one has to find out, what suits the best for them.
True.
Yeah.
So Roopali, now that this is the low impact period, the low activity period. Now, suppose somebody really wants to lose weight.
Yes.
Okay, you explained that we need to change our diet make it
Yeah.
60%. So now, suppose you want to lose weight during this period. So I say, say I decide that now that I'm at home, let me try, and I'm not working on anything else. Let me work on losing weight. So what
Huh.
would be your advice for them?
So, Nitin, what I would firstly say is, um, when I'm also planning the diet, even if I'm looking at nutrition being the prima facie, important,
Right,
but even
right.
calories are playing a very important role. So,
Huh.
firstly, when you are trying to lose weight, consciously, yes, you have to cut down the calories.
Right.
First and foremost, the first thing which goes to cut down calories, first identify when you're hungry. Is it actually you're hungry or you're thirsty? Every
True.
time you may not be hungry for food. You may be actually thirsty, but you feel like you need something and we go to food. So if a person who's trying to lose weight needs to identify first the hunger.
Right.
Secondly, if you're trying to lose weight, try and reduce your number of meals. So if you're used to eating 3 big meals, try and reduce it to 2 meals. If you're used to eating like 4 mid meals, try and make it like a 2.5 meals. So basically try and reducing your number of meals, and that has to be done very smartly. So what
Okay.
I always propose to people is try and eat between the midday, because midday to, like, let's say if you're trying to lose weight, start your meal somewhere from a midday, like 11, 12, and move up only till 7, 8 p.m. So,
Right.
you may say, oh, it sounds like an intermittent fasting, but yes, it works on those grounds, because in the morning, your body is actually in your cleansing mode. And
Okay.
you let the body be in the cleansing mode, you support the body to clean, you support the body to burn fat. And in that period, I advise people that try and work out, because your fat is any which ways burning from the evening. If you work in your fat, so that is something which I strongly advise for people trying to lose weight. But if you say that, so try and stop having a heavy breakfast, because actually
Okay.
sometimes you may not need it, or you may move, let's say, to a brunch at 11 a.m.
Right.
And
Right.
you say, oh, it's too hard to skip a breakfast and to be without food. I would say then move on to having a small fruit, or maybe have a few nuts. Support the body's constitution, because you have to put in some effort to get some gain. That is like put in some effort to try and lose some weight.
Or even
Otherwise,
a
skip on
vegetable smoothie or something
yeah,
at that time.
so I was coming to that. I was saying, or maybe just like a fluid, like it could be a
Right.
vegetable smoothie or some buttermilk or a lot of limbu pani. So I'm not saying go absolutely null or nil,
Right.
but you can reduce the calories in the first half of the morning and reduce the number of calories by reducing the number of meals a day. So that is
True.
one of the key points. Again, I would say is the very important is, as I explained you about how is, look at your plate the throughout, like let 50% be your fibrous food when you're
Right.
trying to lose weight. Add in a lot of fillers in your diet. So
Okay.
like let's say simple thing, if people are South Indian, they can just have simple like a rasam, which is
Okay.
so much higher in fluidity but less in calories.
Huh.
Like
Huh.
you could have a bowl of salad. You could have like having 2 glasses of very thin buttermilk before the meals, or have a big bowl of clear soup. Why I call them fillers? They have got negligible calorie. They
But
are
satiety
filling your
value.
stomach. Yeah, it's increasing. It will help you to reduce in eating your main course.
True.
Okay, so if I give you 2 glasses of buttermilk before your meal and I say now sit for eating your food, so your appetite
Going to
goes
eat
down.
less. Yeah.
Yeah, so reduce the number of calories by various methods. Between your meals, you try and eat some fruit or nuts as your snack, or even worst come as eat a homemade snack. Please do
Okay.
not eat packaged food. If you're actually trying to lose weight, zero on your packaged food, because everything comes with hidden sugar. Even if it's a diet food, it's hidden sugar, hidden fat, it's got
High on salt.
chemicals, high on salt, which is very, very addictive. So, once you eat a biscuit, you will feel like going for the next biscuit. Or
True.
if you eat a slice of toast and you're hungry, you will go on for the next slice of toast, because everything has got high sodium and it's
Right.
very, very addictive. So, zero out on your processed food, completely refined food, your white sugar. Even if it's made at home. Like if you say, oh, Roopali said that I can eat a homemade snack. But if you are trying to lose weight, that doesn't mean you sit and eat a meetha, the sugary sakar para, or a chakli, or
Right.
a sugar, let's say matri, something like some puri. Just
Right.
because, but if you're trying to lose weight, even if it's homemade, try and curtail from the refined flour and the refined sugar.
Right.
Another very important point is for anybody trying to lose weight, check on your cooking method. I may say yes, you're allowed to eat vegetables, but are you frying your potato or are you steaming your potato? Are you frying your chicken or you're steaming your chicken? Are you eating a fried fish or are you steaming your chicken? Your fish.
Yeah.
So cooking method is very, very important. You know, what the nutritionist may say is right on the paper, but what you eat is what you get from the kitchen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. So that is something very important. Another area, eat slowly, chew your food. Not because of the digestibility, because there are certain hormones which are controlling your appetite and satiety. So the more slowly you will chew your food and eat, the more you will feel satiated faster.
Faster. Yeah.
Yes, faster. So, you know, if you're going to just gulp your food, you will always feel hungry. Right. Another way of losing weight is eat in smaller plates and bowls. You know, it's a very psychological issue. If you're eating in a big thali and you're eating a small meal, you'll always feel empty.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is something. And I would say is basically when you're trying to lose weight, I would say it is not the fat that makes you fat. It is the carbs that make you fat. So check on because of the insulin spike. We all know that when you have an insulin spike, your fat absorption, your fat metabolism,
fat burning doesn't take place.
Fat burning shuts, fat metabolism shuts, and that's when you start loading your weight. So this is something very, very important to be taken care of for losing weight.
True. Roopali, all of us now, in fact, majority of us are working from home. And when you're working from home, you know that you're sitting on a table, your laptop in front of you, and you feel that urge, you know, you feel that urge to munch something. You feel that urge of having something constantly, you know, means it's like a kettle that your mouth is constantly working. So what would be your advice for people who are now working for home? What would be the suggestions you would give them?
So, you know, Nitin, obviously follow some of the suggestions that I have said above, like, you know, which I just explained about losing weight, because that is going to help you in refraining to a good diet plan. True. But for people who are working from home, what I strongly suggest is, you know, I have noticed this, like right now I'm in my practice, a lot of binge eating and emotional eating is happening because people are emotionally disturbed. I mean, stressed, you cannot step out. Stressed, they're worried about what's going to happen. You're not meeting your peers, you're not meeting your colleagues, you're not able to meet your family. So a lot of emotional eating is happening. A lot of binge eating is happening because when I am out, I'm not access to food so much. I'm only access to it when I want it. But when I'm at home, I'm mostly accessible to kitchen. Is so easy, like 10 steps and I'm into the kitchen. Yeah. So one important thing is stocking of food in your house. So what kind of food are you stocking? What kind of snacks are you stocking? See, as Indians, we really don't make so much of a mistake in your main meals. We have very staple diet. You'll eat your dal or your non-veg. You'll eat your green sabzi. You will eat your chapati, your rice, your curd, buttermilk. I mean, everybody has a different cuisine, you know, diet according to their coming from the region.
Which is usually well balanced.
Yeah, because we Indians eat a well-balanced diet, predominantly. A little bit haywire is different, but we prominently eat simple food. Where we make a mistake is snacking.
True.
Right? It's that in-between binge eating. So for that, stocking so right now, take care of what you're keeping in the house, because your access to the kitchen will be and you will only eat what is available in the kitchen, right? So stocking is very important. So keep low-fat, unprocessed food. Try and keep a lot of cucumber, cut carrots, easy to take off tomato. So just chop a tomato, put some chaat masala, put some salt, pepper and eat it. So it can be and it has got very good antioxidant called lycopene. Cucumber, high on water content. It's very good for hydration of the body. Keep some simple chanas and peanuts in the house. Keep little chana peanut jaggery, very, very dense in energy. You keep some free nuts in the house and try and keep them soaked. Keep some homemade, you know, like roasted chidwa, like a poha chidwa or makhanas. But try and avoid keeping biscuits, keeping a lot of processed, like packaged food. Packaged food, because they are full of additives. And that is something that you will keep munching. You know, once you get hooked onto it, you will not feel like leaving it. So that is one thing. Keep I always give my clients a lot of tips on these infused waters. So like you and I, I'm seeing both of us are sipping water. Keep a water bottle next to you and infuse it. infuse it with some fruit, infuse it with some mint leaves, lime, ginger, turmeric, put some apple slices, put a mango kacha keri slice inside, put some pomegranate. Yes, the flavor will, when it goes in the mouth, it will reduce your temptation to eat. Because you, as I told you, you never know where, if you're eating for hunger or thirst or just emotional eating.
Binge eating.
Yes, that is very important to identify. You know, so many times I'm talking to you, I'm like, okay, now you know what, I feel like putting something in my mouth. So that is one thing. So keep a good infused water next to you and keep sipping that. Half of your battle is won there.
Okay.
Another one disciplinary act which I suggest to most people can take is take actually a vow that I will not eat on the table that I'm working. What will
excellent
that?
Excellent
that
plan.
is yeah, because that is a self-discipline, right? That will take you away from binge eating.
True.
No, see, when you're eating on an office table, when you're, let's say you are working with colleagues, you're not going to keep on binging like a cow, as you said, like a cattle keeps, you know, you are, because you're working alone, you are tempted to keep munching something just to give you that company. Food gives you company, you know that, you know. Food gives you a lot of company. And so take it about not eating on the table you're working from, so that will refrain you from binge eating. And another thing that I really strongly suggest for people is keep a food log diary. So how, like today we have planned this, we are having this meeting, so we have blocked a calendar. Firstly, what I've noticed is because people are now on a stray, like, you know, you're strayed out. You can wake up when you want, you have your scheduled timings for your meetings, but you know, you could probably just wake up 15 minutes before the meeting, and just change into and sit down on your laptop. Nobody knows what has happened before.
True.
Okay. So people are missing meals, erratic eating. When you miss meals, you eat a lot later on because obviously you're hungry. Sorry. So, you know, so to avoid all of that, what I strongly suggest that keep a little timetable of your food, that you will not miss these timings of your meals. So that will help you in not eating erratic. And secondly, also make a note, especially of what you're doing wrong. I'm not saying what you're doing right, and don't have to write it. Because what happens if you reflect back after 1 week, 10 days, when you climb on a scale, or you say, oh, you know, I'm not looking unhealthy, something is wrong, or I'm looking unfit, or I'm feeling weak, something is going wrong with me. You can actually go back and reflect in things that you have done wrong. And you can know why you have come to a situation like that, especially for people who have put on weight. So a simple habit about writing what you have done wrong is also easy and going to help you. So these are some very simple tips which can help you along with the tips that I explained before.
Absolutely. Roopali, how important is it the time of the day, especially the latter half of the day, about eating? You know, what is the ideal time you would say that one should finish his or her dinner, and you know, the number of hours before between dinner and going to sleep, how important that is in a general nutrition and the weight loss point of view?
So if you ask me, Nitin, that is something of the utmost importance to me. So I always believe that try and eat your heaviest meal between 12 and 4, because your body is at the optimum energy level at that. So let's say even 10 and 4 for 6 hours, and people who are just wanting to eat between 11 means try eating it in the early part of the evening. I don't mean that you start from a heavy, very, very, very heavy. I've never been a great fan of this eating a king size breakfast, because the culture from where it is coming is from the Western world. They actually finish their dinner by 6 p.m. or by 5:30, 6, 7. You know, that's how the culture goes. That's why they have a 12 to 14 hours of fasting when they get into a breakfast. And then they eat a very small lunch. And here what happens is, as an Indian tradition, if we try and wake up to a very big breakfast, and then we eat a very big lunch, and then we eat a very big dinner. So that really becomes like a big and a big and a bigger.
And a big.
So, you know, so I would suggest that if you are asking me for timings, firstly, keep at least minimum 3 hours gap between your bedtime and dinner time. Okay? Try and eat your dinner as your heaviest meal as early as possible. Even if you, let's say, if you can make your heavier meal between 6:30 and 7:30. Okay? And let's say you're working up till 12 noon or till 12 midnight or 1 a.m. you're working. And you say, but I get hungry after 10 p.m. Then what? We can go back to our fillers. We can have a little bit of filling, like a filler. but let
Right.
your heaviest meal get over as early as possible.
True.
Okay, and let
Right.
your lunch be a bigger meal of the day, so that will balance the energy on both sides of the day.
For sides of the day. Roopali, there's been a lot of talk nowadays about what I normally call a fad diet. There's been paleo, keto, things like intermittent fasting. So I would like to know, what is your take on all of these things, these fad diets?
Okay, so
Keto especially, because that is something which everyone seems to be pushing and liking these days.
but okay, to be very honest, now what is actually a keto diet? Keto diet is it's a high fat diet with hardly 5%, like literally 5 to 10 grams to maximum 15 gram of carbohydrate a day.
Right.
So first and foremost is, Nitin, I am not against any of this, because these have all come up from a region where they have been very successful, right? After a great success stories, they have come up. So I'm sure there's a lot of history behind it. But I always believe that as Indians, we are predominantly vegetarians. No matter, even if you're eating non-veg, we are not like the Western world where we eat non-veg. We are not meat-eating culture.
Right.
So we as Indians are predominantly vegetarians. We eat a little bit of non-veg. But I have noticed that a keto is more of a non-vegetarian friendly diet, because the quantity of carbohydrate coming is very low then, if I eat a lot of non-veg in my diet. I am not saying a vegetarian may not try, but a vegetarian, even trying, cannot reduce the carbohydrate level as what a keto diet requires. A keto diet requires. Therefore, a vegetarian will not ever have a clean keto diet.
Right.
Being a non-vegetarian, yes, we can attempt to have a keto diet even here. So firstly, it is about who adapts who. Your predominant food nature will decide whether are you apt for it or not.
True.
Okay. Secondly, a keto diet, because I'm addressing to athlete, I'm talking on the grounds of nutrition for fitness. Firstly, understand one thing, that the keto diet which has been coming to us and have been got so popular is coming from all the athletes. I'm talking in athletes' perspective again.
Right.
Those athletes have adapted their body for years.
For fat burning.
It has taken a lot of time to adapt the body from a carb metabolism to a fat metabolism. The books have come now, they write now, but ask them, if you look back, they're working on it for years, like could be 2 years, 3 years. It's a period they have spent their time and invested in it. And day-to-day discipline. Day-to-day discipline, which is it. So you can't say, oh, today I'm bored and let me get into it. You cannot something taking distractions out of it, or detouring it when you want. So what I'm just saying, adaptability takes time. So firstly, you have to be ready to invest your time to adapt your body from carbohydrate
burning
to fat burning. And once you have got, then to enhance that fat burning for high performance.
True.
It should reflect in your high performance. So this is, again, keto has one challenge there, investing time. One has to be ready to invest time to put in that discipline about following the norms of the diet.
Right.
And thirdly, why I'm just showing you a reflection of the keto. I am not here for pro keto and against keto. Because even when I am planning a diet, I assess my client. I assess the person who has come. Is he ready? Is he not ready? How much can he take it, And then we do the jargon there, Then I kind of play it up, because everything may not suit everybody. Secondly, you came to me as a comrade runner. Maybe it's suitable for you. But somebody who comes to me to run a fast 21 will not be suitable for him, because there the person is requiring a lot of muscle glycogen. A liver glycogen is getting utilized for burning for high performance, because the person wants. So for the event you require, any ultra event where the person is,
running at his own pace.
At his own zone. There are certain zones where the fat burning takes place. So you have to find that fat burning zone, and you have to train in that fat burning zone. In that zone, then the keto diet works wonders. That's why all ultra athletes, be it a triathlete, be it an ultra man, be it an ultra runner, they will do amazing with keto diet, because they're running in a certain zone and they're trained to run in that fat burning zone. Versus a person like me, who always wants to sprint. But if I go on an interval training or I go to run fast 10K or a 5K, I will fail miserably. I will not be able, unless I have invested many years to train my body to get there.
True.
You get it? So there are a lot of challenges even when you're adapting. So there is no diet which is 100% you can go for it or you should not go for it. I'm not trying to confuse the mind of the people. What I'm just trying to show you that before you jump into any kind of, before you jump into doing any kind of a diet, understand, is it applicable to you or not? Is it going to benefit you or not? Just because everybody is doing, just because it's helping my neighbor doesn't mean it will help me.
It will help you. Absolutely true. Absolutely. And what about intermittent fasting, Roopali?
So, as we all know, fasting is not, is ancient old custom to India.
Not new to India at all.
It's not new to India at all. Like, for we Indians, fasting we have always been taught to fast on particular days, but like people even who may not be fasting on religious grounds. So, how being a non-vegetarian, like even in a Maharashtrian household, I'll see, oh, I will not eat on Mondays and Thursdays.
True.
My friends will say, I will not eat on these particular days, because that's a way of actually giving your body a rest and cleansing.
Cleansing, huh?
Yes. So fasting has basically been utilized by our body, or was advised for cleaning and healing.
Right.
There were two reasons, cleaning and healing. Right. Yeah. Now what is happening in the Western world, the medical practitioners, the nutritionists, they realize the importance of the fasting, like how they realize about curcumin, and they labeled it as intermittent fasting. With 12-hour fasting, 14-hour, and they packaged it really well, and we absorbed it very well.
With acronyms like OMAD and 1 meal a day. And, right.
Yes. But what is actually, see, the primary function of fasting is, as I said, is healing and is cleansing.
Cleansing.
Right, cleansing and healing. Right. Now, what happens is, as a doctor, I'll tell you, that when I don't eat food, my insulin doesn't spike.
True.
Right? When I'm fasting, I don't eat food, my insulin spikes. When my insulin spikes, automatically my fat metabolism shuts down. That means my cell will start absorbing the glucose for its energy. The liver will store the glycogen, the muscle will store the glycogen. But if there is excess glucose, it will store as fat. Right?
Right.
But when the fasting is going on, and when I stop eating food and the insulin drops, then the body works the reverse way. First, the glycogen comes out of the liver, right? For the functioning, giving me energy. Once that is over, then it goes into taking out, tapping the fat.
Right.
Which happens after some 8 to 10 to 12 hours, right? After some 12 hours, your fat metabolism starts working in the body.
Right.
Now, that was just secondary action. Primary, what has happened is, we have extracted the secondary action and made it as a primary goal. So intermittent fasting is, so that's how it became very famous about fat burning. So intermittent fasting helps in fat burning. Yes, it does help in fat burning, but it cannot be treated as your primary goal, because your body can go into deficiency. I mean, and you have to also adapt it only adapt it at a period when you can susceptible, like something like, let's say this period when we are in a lockdown, where we really do not have activity level. Our activity levels have really come down to a very low level. We are not running hard. We are not training very intense. This is a good time to actually go into a fasting mode. I mean, you can start with 12 hours of fasting. Then if you want, you can go for 14 hours, go for 16 hours. If you feel you cannot do throughout the week, then you can break it into doing it only twice a week or 3 times a week, so giving your body a little bit of break, but balancing the whole, but creating a balance.
Right.
But if the same, like, let's say if Nitin, you came to me right now and you were getting ready for your comrades, I would never start an intermittent fasting with you, or I would never put you on that, because I would then compromise basically on your energy and recovery.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you have, that is something which has to be taken. So my take on intermittent fasting is, it's not bad. And firstly, please don't get intimidated by these words, because fasting is something which is new to us. It is an age-old practice for us. We have always been doing. It's just that now it's packaged it very well to us and given to us. The same, our things are given back to us very well. And you can do it, but you have to choose the right moment. You have to choose when to do it.
True.
Okay.
True.
So that
True.
is, and not without compromising. Again, I would say on your immunity, energy. That is the most important
That's
part.
very, very important, especially in
And
these
one more
times.
very important thing is in intermittent fasting, what I see people when they break a fast is how you exit out of a fast, means what you break your fast with. So I would say
Right.
eat a high protein food at that time, natural plant-based protein food when you break a fast, because that will create a satiety. But if you
Okay.
go for a high sugar intake of food, like let's say if you eat some food which will spike your insulin, so there will be a lot of disturbance in the insulin. So how
Right.
you exit from your
From your
fasting,
intermittent fasting.
yes, that is the key. And
Key.
what you eat between the period. It
Right.
shouldn't be like any junk food. Oh, I fasted, now I can eat a samosa, I can eat a laddu, I can eat a biscuit, I can eat a sandwich, I can eat macaroni with cheese. No, because then
Right.
you're storing. Then the body actually learns just to store.
Store.
Okay, store,
Right.
because you're spiking your glucose so much. So
True.
basically, you will notice you could be doing intermittent fasting, but you could be just standing on the same place without seeing a shift in your weight. For what reason you may be doing, because you are
True.
putting in that many calories, and at the same time when you're fasting, you're breaking only that many calories. So you're on the same platform.
Absolutely. Roopali,
Okay.
now, since we've answered majority of the questions what people normally have, I think let's go on a small rapid fire, a small fun sort of a thing. So probably, Roopali, your take between, what's your take on beer after a long Sunday run?
Good, easy fueling of carbohydrate, but junk calories.
Okay. 2 pegs of hard liquor twice a week.
Doable.
Beer, wine, malt, blended whiskey, gin.
Malt, no calories.
Tea, green tea, coffee.
Any day green tea. One should reduce the caffeine.
Okay. Sugar, jaggery, stevia, sweeteners.
I would go for jaggery because of the iron content. Stevia, it is because stevia has it's a natural sugar, but again, if it's processed, then I would yet go for jaggery, but in a controlled fashion.
Okay. There have been some questions which are coming. That was a very nice rapid fire. Unfortunately, we can't give you a hamper for this. But there are some questions which have been coming all through. And one common question which I've been seeing is, what is your take on between whey protein and plant protein for runners?
So basically, if a person is not lactose intolerant, then can go for a whey protein, because whey protein does contain it contains an isolate which gives a fast acting protein powder. But if you are lactose intolerant and you do not want to consume anything to do with milk and milk products, then obviously one has to bend down towards vegetarian protein. I also see to it that when a person is in a low phase training, when is in a low impact or a low requirement of training protein, I do prefer giving a plant-based protein diet. So I give a plant protein. And when I see that when a person is in a very high intense performance zone, like a high intense training zone, then I do give a combination of plant protein and whey protein, because I need to stabilize the protein intake at that point of time. Right. So it's actually given it depending upon the training also. It's not like I never recommend whey. Yes, I do recommend whey. I do recommend plant protein, but it all depends upon the situation.
Right.
But so even I would, and one very strong thing, if you are taking whey protein, then I would suggest at least try and take grass-fed whey protein.
True.
Okay, so that is far better than taking non-grass-fed, because whey comes from milk. So take it a grass-fed whey protein.
Okay, Roopali, we have exactly 1.5 minutes left for this transmission to go off. One last question. Which fats are good? Cheese, ghee, butter or oil?
Cheese, ghee, butter or oil? I would go for ghee, because it is a saturated fat. It is not tempered. So the cooking oil gets tempered very badly. Butter has a lot of salt and it is saturated fat. And what will you say? Ghee? Cheese.
Cheese, ghee,
it's
butter.
Processed. Yeah, I never like processed. I don't like food that is processed under a lot of salt, because they are addictive, and it just later on it adds on to your hypertension. So the cheese and the butter is out for that. Oil I'm never very much in favor of, because of it has a high omega-6, which actually reversely works on your cardiovascular. So people, they don't realize it, that your omega-6, if it is not balanced to your omega-3, it leads to cardiovascular diseases. So a little amount of ghee, if it is required in cooking, you can go for it. But again, is a quantity that matters.